It's amazing how often an influential teacher can shape a professional life. When I sat down to talk with well-known local attorney John Day, the same mentor's name came up more than once. Someone who urged him to expand his horizons and maybe not follow the precise path, step for step, that his father and namesake had successfully walked.
I had a professor named Bill Van Diest, who, by the way, just died of pancreatic cancer in September. I stayed in touch with him over the years. But I asked him where he thought I should go to law school. My intention was to go to the University of Wisconsin at Madison, where my dad went. And he said, John, you don't want to do that. You've never been drafted. You've never been anywhere. You've never seen anything. If you go to Wisconsin Law School and then go up to Spencer, Wisconsin to practice law, you're going to wake up when you're 40 and wonder what you've missed.
John has taken on a new and prestigious role in the legal world at an especially fraught time. But he relishes the challenge, and just like law school, I've got a feeling he's going to love every minute. I'm Demetria Kalodimos, and if it please the court, I've always wanted to say that, it's Banner & Company. Well, John, thank you for coming. I know you were probably at the gym this morning. I was a bad girl and didn't go, and we do share the same personal trainer.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Nick has been a real asset to me. I guess it's a year that we've worked together, and he makes me feel good.
Well, you're looking good.
Thank you. You too.
It gets harder, doesn't it?
You know, I think it does, and all the more reason to go, though, right? I mean,
Right.
We just keep trying to do the best we can, and hopefully we can avoid the falls and all the stuff that goes with that.
Let's hope. You were just named president of a very prestigious invitation-only association of attorneys. So give us the Cliff Notes version of the American College of Trial Lawyers.
Well, the American College of Trial Lawyers just started its 76th year. It was founded by a guy named Emil Gumpert in California with 8 or 10 other gentlemen, and they set forth to build what they call the leading trial lawyers organization in the United States. And we believe they've accomplished that. We now have almost 5,700, we call them fellows, of the American College in the United States and Canada.
I'm assuming there are women fellows as well.
There are women fellows as well. That changed about 35 years ago. And in fact, one of the original women fellows is still alive. And I know her. She's from Florida. She's an asset. And we've also had 2 female presidents. And following me, there will be 2 female presidents in a row. One from Toronto, Canada, one from Philadelphia.
Is this a group think tank kind of organization? I mean, what are you doing other than trading war stories?
Well, we do trade some war stories. That's the lawyer thing, right? We do a bunch of different things. We have 47 general committees that touch on everything from access to justice issues to judicial independence issues till teaching trial advocacy issues, to helping mentor law students and young lawyers across the United States and Canada. So we have a large number of outreach programs that we coordinate with our fellows from around the country and Canada.
So you're taking over this organization at a very challenging time.
I think it is going to be a very challenging time. Because we are very, very concerned about the issue of judicial independence and the rule of law. And I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on those 2 points in the next 11 months in particular.
Yeah, I've heard the phrase the rule of law more in the last 11 months than I have maybe in the last 11 years.
Well, believe it or not, the college is using it more in the last 11 months than we've used it in 75 years because the rule of law is like oxygen. As we sit here, well, we're a little bit above sea level, but at sea level, it's 21% of the atmosphere. and you don't even think about it. It's so necessary for life, but you don't even think about it. Go up to Pikes Peak level, and that the effective oxygen rate is 12.3%, and you can tell a major, major difference. The rule of law is that way. It is such a part of our life, and it works so well. It works really, really well that we don't even know that it's operating 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And now when it's being pushed and being threatened, we're all hyper aware of it, just like we would be of oxygen if we were at 14,000 feet.
Yeah. Has there been a true sort of schism in the legal world based on political allegiances? And if so, can something like that ever be healed or brought back together? Where do you think we are?
I think there's a schism in every aspect of society, from families through every sort of organization that you can imagine, including the legal world. Yes, there are strong feelings on, I would say, both sides, but probably there's more than two sides. Strong feelings on all sides about whether what is going on now is appropriate and consistent with what our founders intended that our country should operate right. Our organization, quite frankly, is feeling a little bit of heat in that regard, but not like others, because we are not a political organization. We do not take sides, except the support for the Constitution and the rule of law. But other than that, we don't take partisan positions. But as we speak on those issues, we are aware of the fact that we're touching some buttons, and we get touched back when we do. In other words, our fellows are not shrinking violets. They let us know if they think we've gone too far. Then we have open, honest, and direct communication about those issues.
Speaking of this notion of the rule of law, is there anything that you've had to weigh in on as the American College of Trial Attorneys?
Yes, we have. We've, unfortunately, if it was up to me, we wouldn't have to speak out on anything. But the indictment of James Comey and Letitia James did not cause us concern. What caused us concern is about the process by which it came about. And let me expand on that if I could. I think every public official, every person needs to be accountable for what they do. And to the extent that James Comey or Letitia James violated the law, they should be held accountable for it. So when those two people were indicted by a federal grand jury in Virginia, we took no position whatsoever on whether or not they were guilty or innocent, or whether or not they should have been charged. We did take issue with the fact that the President of the United States called for them to be charged with crimes.
Publicly,
and said they were guilty as hell. Said the same thing about Senator Adam Schiff. And that is wrong. That is wrong. The Justice Department should operate totally independently from the President of the United States or the White House. And we do not want to get to a place in this country where the chief executive officer or people reporting to him in the White House can call for the criminal prosecution of citizens or non-citizens. It is wrong. So when investigating crimes, and I'm going to mess up the quote because my memory isn't perfect, but a former Attorney General of the United States and a former president of the American College of Trial Lawyers was a gentleman by the name of Griffin Bell from Atlanta, Georgia. And he said, when he was Attorney General, is that those investigating crimes should focus on the crime, not the person committing the crime. Focus on the conduct. And that's what we should be doing in the United States. So we spoke out against the president's statements about Letitia James, James Comey, and Adam Schiff, and I think we were right to do so. Someday a jury will decide or a judge will decide whether those people are innocent or guilty of crimes. but it should not have been handled the way that it was handled, and I hope the president will not do that in the future.
Are we going to end up with a larger Supreme Court?
No, we're not going to end up with a larger Supreme Court. I think 9, and I'm speaking for myself now, the college doesn't have any sort of position on that, but 9 was the number that we've worked with historically. I don't see any way that will increase. I do not.
We have talked before, and I know that you grew up in the vacation paradise of northern Wisconsin. At least it was the vacation paradise of people in Chicagoland.
You're exactly right. The Highway 39 is the straight shot up north to Minocqua, Tomahawk, Rhinelander, and all those places. Did you and your family go there?
All the time,
Oh,
every
wonderful.
summer. And it was a summer vacation where you were less likely to wear your bathing suit than to wear your ski jacket.
Well, we Wisconsin boys liked when you Illinois girls came up for the summer because it gave us a chance to meet big city girls.
I bet. What was life like up there? I mean, I'm thinking knotty pine and fishing lures, but I mean, to live there year-round is a different thing.
Well, I lived just south of northern Wisconsin. So I lived in really central Wisconsin, midway between Green Bay and Minneapolis, in a little farming community of 897 people. My dad always said that we picked the ugliest part of Wisconsin to live in. Now, I didn't think it was that ugly, still don't, but it is not the beautiful mature woods and lakes that you find north of Highway 8 in Wisconsin. But living in that farming community was a wonderful experience. I can't imagine living anywhere else. I learned so much. We have so many wonderful memories of growing up in that town.
Was your dad a farmer?
My dad was a lawyer. He graduated law school in 1957 from the University of Wisconsin and moved to northern or central Wisconsin that same year. His first year of practicing law, he was also a substitute teacher in high schools, and he made more money teaching than he did practicing law.
Really?
Yeah, which wasn't much in either account. But yes, he actually made more money substitute teaching than he did being a lawyer.
Did you admire the law and the practice of law as a young guy, or?
Yes, I mean, my dad was John Day. I'm the oldest of 5 boys. It was always expected that I would go to law school and come back and practice with my dad. And I worked toward that throughout grade school and high school and, quite frankly, college. That was my long-term plan. So, yes, I was going to be at least one of the lawyers in the family after my dad.
If I teleported back to early and mid-70s, am I going to see a guy in like flannel shirt with long hair, or what were you like? Were you smartest guy in class?
No, I was probably the smartest ALEC guy in class. I was not the smartest guy in class, and I didn't have long hair. My dad would not have permitted that. My dad defended a lot of drug cases in the late 60s and 70s, and he always said that he did more to beautify America than Lady Bird Johnson, because he would insist that all of his criminal defendants charged with drug violations get their hair cut before a court hearing. So yes, I could not have let my hair grow long even if I wanted to.
You went to UNC
I
for
did.
law school. Like, how? That's a far ride.
Well, it is a far ride for somebody. And I'd only been out of state when I went to UNC to visit twice before that in my entire life. And had only been on an airplane once. But I went to the University of Wisconsin Platteville to undergraduate school, which is a little school in the southwest corner of Wisconsin, 4,500 students, town of 10,000, classic small Midwest college town. And I had a professor there named Bill Van Diest, who, by the way, just died of pancreatic cancer in September. I stayed in touch with him over the years. But I asked him where he thought I should go to law school. My intention was to go to the University of Wisconsin at Madison, where my dad went. And he said, "John, you don't want to do that. Your plan is to practice law with your dad, but if you've never been drafted, you've never been anywhere, you've never seen anything, if you go to Wisconsin Law School and then go up to Spencer, Wisconsin to practice law, you're going to wake up when you're 40 and wonder what you've missed. So I said, well, where do I go? He said, go to Duke or go to Oregon. And I said, why? And he said, because they're different than anything you've experienced before, and you need to experience something different. So the next spring break, this is my junior year, I drove to Duke. And that's a long drive. But I drove to Duke, and I walked around, and then I drove back, not realizing that Chapel Hill was even there, 10 miles away. I didn't know. I didn't know. So over the course of the winter, I found out that there was another law school in the Research Triangle, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. So I drove back again the next spring break and visited the law school. Ran into the dean of admissions while I was at the law school. He did an interview of me. I was wearing a Pabst Blue Ribbon T-shirt and blue jean cutoff shorts. And my acceptance letter was in the mailbox when I got back to Platteville.
Wow. Well, you impressed him, maybe not in wardrobe, but
well, it certainly wasn't the
way.
wardrobe. Those were the days of khaki pants and button-down shirts, which, quite frankly, I'd never seen before. Right?
Yeah,
I stuck out like a sore thumb at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, both when I interviewed and when I arrived in August.
It's Banner and Company. I'm Demetria Kalodimos. We'll be right back. When we launched Banner and Company more than a year ago, we wanted to help you get to know your Nashville neighbors. One of the best ways to know a neighborhood is to tap into the experience of a realtor or two who really know the city and the region. Richard Courtney and Lisa Peebles are a pair to draw to, as they say. Kind of like matchmakers, they have the experience and relationships to connect you with people and homes that best serve your personality and your lifestyle. And with more than $1 billion sold, you can bet you'll be in good company. To connect with Richard Courtney and Lisa Peebles, visit NashvilleLuxuryEstates.com. Was law school an instant fit? Did you feel like, okay, I've watched my dad do this, I know the life, I know the study ethic, or was it tough?
I'm going to sound like the biggest nerd in the universe when I say this. I loved law school. I loved every single second of it. And it was really, really hard. There are lots of really, really smart people at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. I will tell you a funny story. I'm sitting there's a little common area, and we're outside eating chicken after some little seminar program. They were trying to orient us to law school. And chicken is new to me. We didn't eat chicken growing up, okay? So chicken was new, fried chicken. But I'm sitting there, and this guy, talking to this guy, and he asked me what my name was and where I was from, and I told him John Day, the University of Wisconsin at Platteville. I said, how about you? And he said, well, I went to Andover and to Harvard, and my name is Miles Standish. I said, as in the Miles Standish? He said, yes, I'm a direct descendant. I was intimidated as could be.
That'll do it.
Oh, it did it. Yeah. Now, and so we spent 3 years in class together, but it was lots of very, very bright people, all of whom were competitive, right? Because they're lawyers. But I didn't mind that at all. I I loved it, and I felt no pressure because I had a job. I assumed that I would be going back to Spencer, Wisconsin to practice law with my dad, and he didn't care if I got C's or A's. All he cared about was having a son who was a lawyer. So I worked really hard, really hard, because the work demands it. But I loved it. I loved the intellectual debates. I loved the Socratic method. I loved all of it. I got a little bored in my third year, quite frankly, but the first 2 years were fantastic.
But you didn't go home and practice with Dad.
I did not. Same professor from undergraduate school, Bill Van Diest. After I got my first year grades, I had the opportunity to get almost any job I wanted. I did well. So I called up Bill and I said, Bill, where should I take my summer internship? Where should I look? Because what lawyers typically do is look for a clerkship or an internship between their second and third year of law school. And he said, John, I would recommend Nashville. And I'd never been to Nashville, right? And I said, why Nashville? And he said, because it's a state capital. It's a different part of the country, let you see something different. And he said, it's an immature legal community. He said, the law firms are small for the position of the city generally. And he was right. When I came to Nashville, the biggest law firm, I think, was 25 or 26, Bass, Berry & Sims, still an excellent law firm to this day. I went to the old Bolt, Cummings, Connors & Berry firm, which you remember. I was the 21st or 22nd lawyer hired there. There was another firm about the same size, the old Waller Lanston firm. But Charlotte had 50 to 75 lawyer firms, Birmingham, 50 to 75, Louisville, 50 to 75, Atlanta, over 200 lawyer firms. We had not been found in any shape, form, or fashion in Nashville in 1980, 1981. So I interviewed with a Nashville firm, Bolt Cummings, the very first day of interviews, and had a job offer a week later. That was September of 1979. And ended up coming to Nashville because I fell in love with the firm and with Nashville.
Yeah. There's a rich legal tradition, though. My old friend, the late John J. Hooker, used to talk about the class of 57 at Vanderbilt that produced so many, at least in this region, notable attorneys, from Jim Neal to Tom Shriver. They were all in the same class. Right. At least that's the way he told it to me.
Oh, yeah. Nashville has a wonderful, wonderful legal community, and I appreciate it even more now that I'm traveling around the country and getting to know more about more legal communities. We're truly blessed in this community.
Why the personal injury and wrongful death world? It has gotten a rap. I know unfairly, but some people think, that's Better Call Saul territory.
Yeah.
That's not, the highest intellect. And I could be completely wrong.
Well, I think that is the perception. Quite frankly, it's the perception among some lawyers. I did not intend to be a personal injury lawyer. What happened was this. I was leaning toward being a real estate lawyer, believe it or not.
Boring. Sorry.
Well, it would be. In hindsight, I don't know what the heck I was thinking, Demetria. But the reason I was interested in the subject is that the first summer after law school, I was a owner's representative on a big construction site that was developing a section of Chapel Hill to retail, offices, and residences. So we were putting in water and sewer pipe, and I really got into that job that summer of 1979. So I thought, geez, I'd like to make a living doing this, and it'd be fun. So I announced that to the law firm, and they were doing that type of work. Vance Berry, you may remember Mr. Berry, Tom Trent, they had a good Richard Warren, a solid team of real estate lawyers. So they offered me a job, and I thought I would be doing real estate work. But that summer, that very first summer, 1980, I worked with John T. Connors Jr., one of the named partners in the firm. He asked me to do a project with him to write a complaint. That's the document you use to start a lawsuit. And I did some legal research and wrote a complaint in a case called Bass versus Barksdale, which is an important case in Tennessee jurisprudence. But then I was just doing the initial paperwork. And then so at the end of the summer, they offered me a job, and I got a call in January, I believe it was, of 1981. And Bobby Thomas, who was the managing partner, said, Mr. Connors wondered if you would like to work with him some when you get back. He said, I know it's not real estate, but would you be interested in doing that? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to do whatever I'm told. I'm an employee, right? That's the way I was brought up. The boss is the boss. Anything, unless it's illegal, you do it, right? So I said, well, of course, I'd work with Mr. Connors. I'll do anything that y'all would want me to do. And so when I got here that summer, he started giving me more work, and the relationship clicked. And my real estate career was over before I got my law license.
Ah.
Which is to the benefit of the real estate community in Nashville. Believe me, I would not have been a good real estate lawyer.
Just to save people from looking up the case, what were the issues in that case that became so important?
Oh, well, the issue was a woman who, I'm a C. Bass, believe it or not, that was her middle initial. I'm a C. Bass, was given a drug called Myambutol, which is an anti-tuberculin. She had tuberculosis. One of the side effects of that drug is that it can destroy the optic nerve. So before you give the drug, you want to do a baseline eye exam, and then you want to monitor the eyes to see if there are any changes. She was not told of that risk. She was not given that baseline exam. So she ended up going blind. Oh. She thought she was going blind from cataracts that she knew she had. Instead, her optic nerve was destroyed. So we brought a lawsuit against 3 different groups here in town and won the case in Judge Harry Lester's court in 1983, I think the trial was. But it went up on appeal because Judge Lester had given a special jury instruction that is called commonly the dynamite charge or the Allen charge, because the jurors were having trouble making up their mind. And so he basically called them all together and said, you all have heard all the evidence. Nobody can do a better job of this. You got to agree and work this out. That was inappropriate, it turned out. So that case is the leading dynamite charge case in Tennessee law. Now, there's a new case that's pending before the Tennessee Supreme Court right now that'll become the leading case in that area as soon as the court decides it. But for the last 40 years, the Bass versus Barksdale is a leading case in that area.
Isn't it hard classically to get one physician to testify against another in a wrongful death or a med mal? Isn't that one of the hardest things to try?
It's very difficult. And it used to make me very angry when I was a young lawyer that I couldn't persuade doctors to testify against one another. I understand it now because I'm now frequently asked to testify against other lawyers. And I won't do it. So does that make me a hypocrite? Perhaps. The problem is most of the time I'm asked to testify against people I know.
Yeah,
and I would never do that unless if a lawyer stole money. I've turned lawyers in for stealing money from their clients before. I don't feel bad about that, but suing a lawyer for a mistake, a lawyer that I know, I'm not comfortable doing that. And I can understand why doctors would not want to testify against other doctors that they know. That's reasonable in my mind.
I can remember about 15 years ago doing a story about the vanishing trial. The trials were going away. Everything was being settled out. Is that still true? And are attorneys still equipped to take a case all the way before a jury?
The vanishing trial is worse now than it was 15 years ago. Oh. It is a constant threat, and it is harder and harder to find a lawyer who has taken the ball all the way across the goal line. That's one thing that our organization requires. It's an invitation-only group, And you not only have to have 15 years of experience trying cases, but you have to be considered among the best in your state or, in Canada, your province. That requires trial work, not just litigation and go into mediations. You actually have to try cases. So if you see someone who's a fellow in the American College of Trial Lawyers, you're seeing someone who is courtroom tested and peer reviewed by other lawyers and other judges. But even our fellows have difficulty getting to trial.
Is that because of expense, time? I mean, what are the factors playing in?
I actually give a speech on this. There's lots of them. One of them is the expense. Lawyers are expensive. Expert witnesses are expensive. Another is the time it takes to actually get a case to court in some jurisdictions. Some people can't afford to wait for justice to be done, right? Justice delayed is justice denied. I really believe that. Some people just can't hold out. But another problem is mediations. In other words, we now, in many courts, will require parties to try to work things out. That's good for the parties, and good for society, I believe, so long as the settlements are reasonable and voluntary. But it means less trials. But another major reason I don't think gets enough credit is the rules of civil procedure. Lawyers adopted a series of rules in the federal courts in 1970. In the state courts, I think it was 78 or 80, I can't remember the exact year, where we exchange information before trial voluntarily. There's a process for doing it, but it's mostly unsupervised by the courts. Courts can get involved if people are playing games. But that exchange of information means that you have a right to know what the other side knows before they go to trial. If that's true, and if both lawyers do their job and everybody tells the truth or gets caught not telling the truth, then reasonable people should be able to resolve most differences, right? Mm-hmm. That's what the system was set up to do, and it's working. It's an example of where the rule of law works in the background underneath, and people don't realize it, but it's actually resolving cases short of the risks of trial. And I think that's a good thing, quite frankly. It's a marvelous thing.
I've always wondered, though, when I see a well-prepared defense or prosecution team walk in with their, suitcases full of stuff, and then the case does not go to trial. They walk out into some room and that's it. That has to be absolutely horrible for the people.
It's the only thing worse is losing. Yes, losing is horrible. But getting ready to go to trial and then not having it go forward is devastating, because the getting ready part is really, really hard. In high-stakes cases, I mean, I was getting ready for a major trial this summer. I lost 8 pounds in 2 months.
Wow.
I was working 12 to 14 hours every single day. It is. There's a reason they call it a trial.
Did it go before a jury?
It did not. It got settled about 3 weeks before trial, but it got resolved. But it is devastating to put all that hard work into it, and then not having it go. But I will say this, as I tell my coworkers, it's not about the lawyers, it's about the clients, stupid. Remember James Carville?
Exactly.
Put that up in Little Rock. It's the economy, stupid.
Yeah.
Trying to remind then candidate Clinton. I tell my lawyers, it's the client, stupid. So what's in the client's best interest is what should drive the decision, not how it makes you, the lawyer, feel.
Most lawyers hate the way you're depicted in media, in film, in television. Is there a decent lawyer movie out there, or a scene from from a film or something where you go, yeah, that's the way I would have done it, or I admire that person?
I don't watch anything related to lawyers. I've never watched the lawyer TV shows.
Really?
I don't watch because I find it so frustrating and so inconsistent with reality that I just don't watch it. So I can't give you one because I just don't go there.
You don't read the books either?
I've read some of the books, and I had the opportunity to meet John Grisham a couple of weeks ago, and I've read some of his early books, and especially like A Time to Kill. But no, I don't read the books either. I just I read a lot. I read novels, but I don't read anything concerning the law.
You know, it seems to me in the past couple of weeks, even today, I think I read about another bunch of people being pardoned for crimes after long trials, long, complicated trials that took a lot of people's time, including jurors. Is that going to make people even more reticent to sit on juries if they know that their work's going to be undone with a stroke of a pen and a pardon?
Well, I think that is a risk. I think we have to remember that the president has the absolute right to pardon. So do governors. And one thing I think we all have to think about when we walk into the ballot box, in the voting booth, and have to cast that ballot, is what is the attitude of this person toward pardons? When are they given? Why are they given? And I think that is a relevant factor. I don't think it's been a relevant factor in the past. Because the pardons normally, historically, have been given at the end of a president's term or near the end of a governor's term. And there's sort of, it's news for 3 days and then it goes away. That's changed in the last 11 months. And I think more and more people are going to be paying attention to that issue in the future.
It's Banner and Company, and my guest is attorney John Day, newly named president of the American College of Trial Lawyers. We'll be right back. Do you learn if and when a case of yours is adjusted on appeal? Do you learn from that, or does it just tick you off?
Oh, I learn from every single win and loss, and any good lawyer does, right? And I've lost cases, and I've lost lots of minor battles in major cases, and you should learn every single time, right? We don't know it all, and losing a case or having a result modified, yes, it's very frustrating because you put a lot of yourself into it and you've grown to at least respect, if not love, your client. Mm-hmm. And you hate to see them experience that loss. But good lawyers learn from wins and losses.
Is it kind of cool to be on your own? I mean, you could have probably gone to certainly any firm in this town or elsewhere, but you decided to hang up the old shingle that says John Day, which probably gave your family a thrill to see that happen.
Well, yeah, I spent 11 and a half years at Bolt Cummings before I decided to try to do it on my own. I went out, another gentleman and I worked together in 1993 when I started the firm. It was very, very exciting to me. It was scary. I mean, I was a partner in a major Nashville law firm. I had a mortgage and a baby, and I had $50,000 saved. And a IBM computer with a 4 megabyte hard drive was $2,000. A fax machine was $4,000 back then. I took my secretary with me. For some reason, she wanted to get paid. I don't know what was wrong with her. And, of course, my family had to eat, too. It was very, very scary, but very, very exciting, too, because I've always been I had the good fortune when I was in undergraduate school to run a business. I was a paper boy and sort of ran a business that way when I was young, and did lawn mowing service. So I wanted the opportunity to run my own shop, but it's very scary, yes.
Yeah. When you're presenting, now you're president of this big association, you're reading, you're writing, you don't watch the legal movies. What do you do for decompression?
I travel. My wife and I love to travel. In fact, my wife and youngest daughter, who just turned 18, but when she was a freshman in high school, we left Nashville for 6 months and moved to Spain. And
I'm jealous.
Rented an apartment in Madrid. And I practiced remotely from Spain. Remember that this is in 2022, that COVID is still a real thing. And so we did Zoom appearances in court. And I was able to sneak away for 6 months. So that is an example of the type of travel we like to do. Obviously, I don't have time to do that these days, but we do travel as much as we can to as many places as we can, trying to learn more about the world we live in.
So were you up in the middle of the night in Spain doing your courtroom thing?
I only had one court appearance at 4 o'clock, which was 11 o'clock Madrid time. Most of them were in the morning or at basically 8 o'clock Madrid time, so it wasn't that bad. But yes, I had one sport coat, 2 ties, one dress shirt, and a camera.
Wow.
And a ring light.
Yeah, got to have that ring light. Banner & Company is a production of the new Nashville Banner. This episode is produced by Steve Harouche and edited by me. The original music is by Verlin Thompson. You can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts or go to NashvilleBanner.com. You're in good company. Our final question is in the fishbowl.
Ah, okay.
Your choice. You never know what you're going to get.
Well, I'm going to take the one on top. Is that it? Is that
Probably
all
good
one
advice.
there?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I saw Governor Bredesen had to reach in the fishbowl, so I guess I should feel comfortable doing it too. Do you want me to read this out loud?
Please.
Mark Deutschman wrote this. Okay. He's a mover. I like to say a lot of a little is a lot.
And if you just do a little bit for your community, but do it steadily over a period of time, extraordinary things can happen. What do you care about, and what is your little?
It's a good question.
It's a really good question. I care about a functioning judicial system for all people. I deeply, deeply care about it because I believe it largely works. And I know it's not perfect. It is run by humans after all, right? But I believe that civilized societies need to have, and civilized economies, Demetria, have to have a functioning system that honors the rule of law and honors judges. So to the extent that I can make people aware of that through my writing and my speaking, I'm doing my little bit, I'd like to think.
I think your professor is proud. Your late professor must be proud.
Well, I did see him several years ago, and I think he thinks things turned out well. And I paid tribute to him every chance I get, to him and Mr. Connors, John T. Connors, because I would not be a fellow in the American College of Trial Lawyers if it wasn't for Mr. Connors. I would not have met Mr. Connors without the help of Bill Van Diest. I've been so fortunate to have people in my life who cared enough about me and my future to lead me along.